What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to another video. In today's video, we're going to do a little bit of catch up on where I've been and what I've been doing, as well as there's a main concept to a video. It's going to be going over lead nurturing. It's a major issue that I've seen a lot of firms struggle with. I have struggled with it too. I've gotten a lot better at it. I'm still working on it, but I think I've gotten the grips on it. But before we get into that, let's go over where I've been, what I've been doing, because I think in my last video I said I was going to be posting monthly. Obviously, I think this is like 3 months later, next video. So finally moved into my new office. This place is perfect. The change in environment is something that I did not expect. So I'm very glad that I made that move and that it's finally done. That was a huge pain, trying to transfer over all the internet, phone lines, all that. You would think that it would be simple, but of course it's not. So that took quite a bit of time. And then by the time I was done, it was the Christmas holidays, so I didn't bother doing anything with that. Just went back home for Christmas and enjoyed my time off. So getting into it, we're going to be going over lead nurturing. Now, the reason why lead nurturing is so important is you get a lot of leads when you run an ad campaign or something like that, and a lot of them don't close, at least not within the first week or first couple weeks. And you think to yourself and you tell yourself that the lead quality sucks, ads suck, this doesn't work, I'm not doing this anymore, I'm just wasting money. But in reality, people are not ready to buy your product or service the second that they see you for multiple reasons. Maybe they don't trust you, maybe they're not sure, maybe they're still weighing out all of their options, or maybe they do trust you, they do like you, but maybe they're just short on cash right now, the day that they see your actual campaign. Now, if you didn't have a lead nurturing system set up, you would have lost that lead. And that's what happened with me is, I think it was last year in February or March, I launched an ad campaign, and that campaign was great. I got a bunch of leads in the first month, but I only closed one deal out of, I think, 50 or 60 leads, I think is where I came in. And in that single month, I only closed one deal. And I told myself, I was like, these leads suck, doesn't work, or I knew ads worked, I just didn't think that this campaign worked. So what I did is I shut that campaign down, and I started to brainstorm different things that I could do. But what I noticed is I launched it in February, March, April, I closed another deal. And then again, I closed another deal in April. And then May, I closed two more deals. So there's 5 deals that originally closed. And when I looked at the actual data of where these leads came from, they came from my ad campaign that I launched back in February, March. And so that's when I thought to myself, okay, these leads were actually really good, but they just needed a bit more time. So what we're going to go over is my lead nurturing system and what I do to nurture all of my leads. So we're going to jump onto my whiteboard. Okay. So here we are on my whiteboard. So this is my actual flow chart going over my exact campaign. Now, just a couple things to understand and remember. Some leads will buy, just not now. And that's exactly what I learned. And a prime example is I'm about to finalize and close up on a lead that came in last year. I think it was April. March or April, somewhere around the springtime. So they came in and they just closed in December. They signed the contract, everything, and I'm just now finishing that deal. That's an example of how long these deals take. I've said this once and I'll say it again because this was a tax planning offer and a tax planning deal. So when I sold when I sold that actual package, you now start the actual tax plan. Tax planning, at least here in Canada, I would assume it's the same in the UK, the US, Australia, stuff like that. You're working on your schedule, you're working on the lawyer's schedule, and you're working on the client's schedule. So there's 3 different schedules. Everyone's busy, everyone's doing things, and that's just the nature of the business. You know, we're not selling a get rich quick scheme or a quick fix here, or we're not selling like an actual product where once they get it, it's all done. there's a process and time to do it. So some leads will buy, just not now. That's why we need to nurture them, because let's say if they come in, just for example, this is not realistic, but let's just say they came in on a Monday, okay? They saw your ad campaign on a Monday, and that's it. They never saw any emails, no texts, phone calls, no more ads, content, nothing. They didn't see anything from you, and they just forget about you. The next time that pain comes up, the whole reason why they clicked on your video, like let's say if I launched a campaign in March and that client that I'm recently closing up on saw my campaign in March, but then April, May, June, they got no emails from me. They saw no content. They didn't get a phone call or anything. Let's say when their tax bill comes and they think, oh shit, I'm paying so much in tax. But that's right. I met with this guy that said that he could lower it like 6 months back. Oh, what's his name? What's his company name? Whatever. They just forget about it. And then they then go on to Google and they start Googling tax planners, tax strategists, stuff like that. So some leads will buy, just not now. Most leads aren't ready to buy, and that's something that I've noticed, because I've launched very, very simple campaigns where it's not tax planning, it's not some inclusive offer, it's straight up just bookkeeping, okay? A commoditized service where they could get it from anywhere and they could get it pretty cheap. I've launched those types of funnels and campaigns, and I get a influx of leads, like a lot of leads, but they just don't buy. But after a couple of days, a couple of weeks, and all that, they then slowly start to close that. There's a whole sales cycle. Depending on what you're selling, the sales cycle will depend on that. Like when I launch a bookkeeping and corporate tax return funnel or offer, that sales cycle is probably about 3, 5, maybe 6 weeks. But when I do a tax planning offer, that's a lot of work involved, and it's a lot to consider. And a lot of the times you're dealing with corporations who have multiple shareholders, so you need to meet with all of those shareholders and kind of go over what that strategy is. Average sales cycle for a tax planning offer or funnel that I run is about 3 months. So if I launch it in January, I'm not seeing any results until March. And in the meantime, I need to keep up with that ad spend, keep up with the nurture system, all that. So most leads aren't ready to buy right now. They are qualified. They're extremely qualified. That's why they clicked on your ad in the first place, okay? If your ad is calling out a specific avatar with a specific pain, they clicked on it for a reason. If I see an ad going over getting your nails done and there's a 2-for-1 special, I don't give a shit about my nails, but my girlfriend, she might, okay? So that's also another reason why your ads have to speak to the avatar's pain and what they actually want. Another reason is maybe they just don't trust you, which fair enough. They just found you off of an ad online. There's a million of those ads, and when they first see it, they don't know you, they've never heard of you, they barely trust you. But then one thing that I've noticed is they want to buy on their own terms. Okay, this right here is something that I think it's some kind of psychology thing, or I don't know what it is, but most people, they know that they want the service, they know that they're going to get it, but they want to buy it on their own terms. So if I'm on a sales call with someone on a Wednesday and they know for a fact they want it, it's a no-brainer offer, I'm going to save them a bunch in tax. But for some reason, I just picked the sense that they're not wanting to put a credit card down or put a deposit down right now. I don't push them. I know for a fact that if I nurture them properly, they will close, and they'll probably email me on a Friday saying, hey, send that invoice over. Let's get this started. And they're doing it on their own terms. So the actual funnel is going to be an ad or content. Specifically me, I would run a advertisement, whether that's a Google ad, Facebook ad, TikTok ad, doesn't really matter. It's going to go to a landing page, most likely. If you don't have a landing page, get that sorted out. And then on that landing page, there's going to be a VSL on that landing page, but it's going to have a call to action to set up a call with you, a Zoom call, phone call, maybe an in-person meeting, and hopefully you close. But I'm going to be honest, 90% of those leads that come in don't close. So what happens? Well, if they did close, they would become a client here. But let's say for this, most likely they won't close. What they're going to get is they're going to get an email from me, okay? And it's not just going to be a follow-up email like, hey, Jim, just checking in. It's going to be a value-add email, okay? So you're going to give them a tax tip or a bookkeeping tip or some kind of information that most people they don't know about, okay? You want to make it some kind of a value add. That's going to completely depend on what your specific offer is. Now, most people don't care about that first email, but then they'll get another email maybe 2-3 days later, okay? Maybe that email, what I like to do is I like to include a YouTube video in that email, right? Now, once they get that email, maybe they might be like, oh, that's an interesting tip that's in this email. I wonder how it would work with my setup because I've got 3 kids. And with that, they might go back to booking in a call or a sales call. Now I've restarted that whole process, and it gives me just another chance to close that client. Now, what you want to do is you want to set up your email nurturing where every 2 or 3 days, they then get an email. You want to make it some kind of a value add email where hopefully it will lead back to them getting on a call to them becoming a client. Okay. It's a very simple, very straightforward process. This can be 100% automated. Okay. If you don't automate this, you're going to spend a lot of time doing manual follow-ups. Like, let's say if I never automated this and I got those 50-60 leads last year back in March and April, that would be a lot of email nurtures that I've got to send every 2 days, every 3 days, once every week, depending on where they're at in the stage. And what I do is every single email that they get, I make it more valuable. And I don't like to use this term, but I'm going to be honest, it's a bit more pushy. Where this email here, it's just, hey, check out this tip or this strategy that I used on this one client, and it saved them $20,000 in tax. This email might say another value add, but then have a call to action to book in a call. This email might just be a straight up book in a call email. This email here might have another value add email, but then another call to action to a book in a call. As you go down, they're gaining more trust with you and they're getting more exposure to you, your brand, and your company name, which ultimately leads to more trust, more trust, once you get on a call, will usually land you a client. So, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. That is my, in a nutshell, email nurture sequence and my whole strategy to nurture those leads, get them used to my name, get them comfortable with me, and ultimately gain more trust. Now, there's different ways that you can go about this, like how many emails should you send them. Like, I've got a couple leads where I've sent them probably 18 emails over a span of 3 months, I'd say, and they're just not buying. And in that case, what I'll do is I'll probably put them on like a newsletter email or something like that, which, by the way, if you don't have a newsletter, you should 100% get one. It's an easy way to upcharge current clients and add on new services that they didn't even know that they needed. But ultimately, that is, in a nutshell, the exact way that I nurture all of my emails. If you guys want to know what kind of softwares that I use, why don't you go ahead, go to my Instagram, DM me the word software, and I'll kind of give you a rundown on every single software that I use to manage and run all of my email nurtures. If you guys like that video and you want more tips on how to grow your own bookkeeping and accounting firm, go ahead and like this video, because I'll be posting more videos moving forward going over different tips and tricks that I use to grow my own bookkeeping firm. With that said, I'll see you guys in the next one.